Acho, Cowboy season over?
The Cowboy season, Marcellus, it is over, and this isn't one of those, oh my God, the sky is falling, one of these early on, week 1, week 2, or week 3 type of reactions. When I look at it, they're an undisciplined team, they're an unmotivated team, and to some degree, they're an untalented team. I say untalented because they're untalented at positions that really matter. Left tackle, defensive back, and quarterback. They're hamstrung because they have a ton of playmakers, but they don't have a quarterback to get the ball to all of these playmakers. So all of these playmakers are rendered useless on the outside. We talk about the Cowboys' talent, but the receivers can't pass the ball to themselves. So I say undisciplined, unmotivated, to a degree untalented. If you are either the worst or second worst team in the worst division in football, that does not bode well for your season. Before the game, head coach Mike McCarthy said, let's just win the division. Well, the Washington football team not only beat you, they embarrassed you. They took your manhood on national television, and we all were there to lie witness to it. The Cowboys season is indeed over. It's not hot take-ish, but it's your 2 wins. 2 wins versus 2 terrible teams, the Giants and the Atlanta Falcons. 2 wins in which by scoreboard and scoreboard alone did you win that game. It's not like you necessarily outperformed. It's not like you dominated. Now, can't take a win away from a football team. I know how hard it is to win a game in the NFL. It's hard to get one. Can't take it away from them, but I can qualify and quantify their performance in those 2 wins, the only 2 wins they have on the season. The Cowboy season is indeed over. Continue to play the games. Go out there and see what players will continue to fight, because I didn't see much fight from anybody yesterday. But yes, bro, the season for the Cowboys is done.
No, you know it's not done. That's why you didn't have the same emphasis, the same emphatic response.
I wanted to start a little calm. We have a 2-hour show. We got a 2-hour show. I don't want to run out of gas on y'all like the Cowboys have been running out of gas.
Oh, really? Oh, now he wants to wake up. During your whole soliloquy, I didn't hear the same acho.
Oh, man.
All right, so you want to come out calm. Well, I'm going to come out on fire.
Do that.
You know the season's not over. It's a relative experience in their division. Amazing, we're looking at a team right now that is the Dallas Cowboys, who are sitting there only a half a game out of first place. So when you say your season is over, you're not being literal, because we could still win this division. Don't we play the Philadelphia Eagles going forward a couple times? Yes, we do. So they can easily make up this distance. But let's talk about why there's a distance to make up in the first place. Dallas Cowboys, you said untalented. That's interesting, because this team was lauded as the most talented team, certainly in their division, maybe in the NFL for a second. However, like you said, the injuries have really taken its toll. And then you look at the situation in terms of discipline. I don't like that angle. And all these we're going to go deeper into. I don't like that angle, because when you look at a team, you say, are they disciplined or not? Typically, you look at their penalties, and you say, are they one of the most penalized teams in the league? The Dallas Cowboys are tied for 5th. But let's look at the teams that are worse than the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, get your Google on, boy. You know who's the worst team in terms of penalties this year? Most penalized team? Arizona Cardinals. Oh, they look kind of good. Did they just beat an undefeated team? Yes, they did. You know who else is in the top 5 worse than the Dallas Cowboys? Buffalo Bills. They look pretty good. What about the Tampa Bay Bucks? Oh, so the correlation between discipline, penalties, and lack of coaching, I don't buy that, and I'm not buying it by the numbers this year. Let's look at this team as a team that is trying to figure itself out. One, there is no continuity in the coaching staff and what they have now at quarterback, or is now offensively. Let's just be real about that.
That's fair.
2, there's no continuity on the front line in terms of the offensive line because of all the injuries. And 3, they've lost their greatest leader. Not just on the field, Dak Prescott, who led them to the #1 offense, the #1 pass offense before he was injured. Let's talk about the fact that there's a void in this locker room. Let's talk about there's a void on the field, intangibles that Dak Prescott made up for both sides of the football, not just offensively and not just at the quarterback position. You add all that up, how can the season be over? Because we're still in striking distance of first place, and we're still the Dallas Cowboys figuring it out on the fly. But I don't want to point at the coaches, because I've been on the field too many times where the outsiders were pointing at our coaches, and us on the inside were realizing it was the man in the mirror. Let me give you a little short synopsis of my playing career. I played for 6 different coaches. And when you talk about my coaches, I had a lot of losing seasons. I didn't play quarterback, so I didn't have that much impact on the team. Because if everybody was playing like I played, Super Bowl champions, right? Now, let me be serious about this. I had coaches by the name of Marv Levy, Marty Schottenheimer, Mike Riley, Bill Parcells, Wade Phillips, and Jack Del Rio. Now, when people hear those names, they automatically start ranking who's the best coach, who's the worst coach. And I know who they're going to put up there at the top. Bill Parcells, Marty Schottenheimer, or Marv Levy. Of my 6 head coaches, 4 of them gave me L's, losing seasons. And you want to know those names? Marv Levy, Marty Schottenheimer, Mike Riley, Bill Parcells. You want to hear those seasons? 6-10, 6-10, 5-11. 4-12. Those 4 big names gave us the losing seasons. You know who gave me my winning seasons? Wade Phillips and Jack Del Rio, 12-4. All right, Jack, 11-5, 10-6. Those are the other guys. Here's my point.
What's your point?
My point is this. You went to the board, did a good job of pointing out how players were not in the right situation in terms of their discipline, mindset, or maybe even in scheme. But I want to sit there and push back and say, it's not so much that you're being out-coached. You're being outperformed. It's not so much you're being out-coached, you're being out-executed. We get on here all the time.
Yep.
And if we mess up, when we mess up, we can't look at our producers because a lot of times we're giving the right opportunity and the right platform to do the right thing. However, the discipline comes on the individual. It doesn't come on the collective, and it certainly doesn't come on the coach. Of all my errors and my losing seasons, I couldn't look outside, had to look inside.
Here's my issue, and this is why I don't think the Cowboys can repair their current issues. It is because, Marcellus, there are 11 players on defense at one time.
Yeah.
If the players continue to not be coached to not make or fix a mistake that someone else makes, you're going to see 11 of the exact same mistakes. Hyperbole to a degree, sure, but there are 5 defensive backs on the field at a time. Are you going to give up 5 deep balls until you finally each figure out, let me learn from my mistake? To use your example of us coming up here on air, if you one day mess up a read, then the next day you might not mess it up because you messed it up. But if I don't realize, based on someone telling me, hey, Acho, learn from what Marcellus did, then I will make the same mistake. That's what we're seeing in Dallas. Yesterday, you give up another big ball, another X play. Trayvon Diggs isn't going to give up another deep pass again in the near future, more than likely. But you know who else might? The next corner, the next safety, the other safety, because the Cowboys coaches are not instilling what needs to be instilled. Marcellus, when I was in Philly, we had the number 2, number 1, and number 3 special teams the 3 years I was there.
All right.
My special teams coordinator at the beginning of every Monday, after the Sunday games, the beginning of Monday, we would look around the league, and he would show us the mistakes made by every special teams unit around the league. He might say, hey, guys, did you see this onside kick? Let's prepare for it. Did you see this bobbled snap on the field goal special teams unit? Let's prepare for it. Because we were going to learn from mistakes, not only that we made, but mistakes being made from around the league. The Cowboys defense, the Cowboys team, they're not even learning from the mistakes they're making within their own house. For that reason, I'm like, how can you salvage this?
Well, this is how you salvage it, is someone being accountable that has leadership on this roster. Someone that people believe in that can inspire others, because they lost that in Dak Prescott. Just the gap, just the disparity of this offense from what Dak Prescott was doing with this same offense versus what Andy Dalton was able not to do with this same offense proves it's not about the coaching, because they both had the same coach. It's about the talent. To show you that in literal livable form right now, because we're not going to see Dak anymore this season, what about Ezekiel Elliott? Interesting. He has 2 100-yard rushing games over his past 15 games. He's only played 7 with Mike McCarthy. So what about the other 8, Zeke? Oh, you going to blame another coach? Or are you going to start to realize what I'm saying? Look in the mirror. Or, not just me, Leighton Vander Esch said this, quote, has nothing to do with scheme, our issues. Acho, I've been on too many losing teams. I told you all the names. It's not about the scheme. It's not about, if you're reinstilling or you're trying to create new habits or not. It's about these guys finally saying, no matter what I've been taught, I have to execute that. And they're not doing that consistently.
Let me say this. It's a combination. Anything in life is not 100% one thing and 0% another. Everybody typically has some fault to take ownership of. When I look at the Cowboys, the number one thing is injuries. That's the number one reason for me why their season is over and why they're in this position.
Dak.
No Dak. No La'el Collins, your starting right tackle. No Tyron Smith, your starting left tackle. Zach Martin gets hurt. So when I just look at offensively right there, number 1 is injuries.
Okay.
Number 2, I'm not going to say it's a scheme issue. Because scheme to me isn't synonymous with coaching. What do I mean? The play I showed Joel last week getting beat on an 80-yard touchdown, that's cover 3. Their defensive coordinator, Mike Nolan, said high school defenses run that.
Yeah, that's
He's
real.
right. But just because a high school defense knows the scheme doesn't mean the players know how to execute the scheme.
I like that.
So Leighton Vander Esch is exactly right. You're exactly right. It's not a scheme issue. I'm not saying it's a scheme issue, but just because the scheme is adequate does not mean the execution is adequate. When I say the execution is inadequate, to me, I say that has to do with the coaching. Players need to take ownership, absolutely.
Yeah.
I learned how to play the game of football by watching highlights of Ray Lewis. My parents were born and raised in Nigeria. I taught myself how to play linebacker. My dad, football is a black and white circular ball that you
Racial?
kick. Soccer. That is what football is in Africa.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I had to teach myself how to play the position. So I say that to say, cornerbacks, y'all can do it yourself to a degree. But coaches, y'all getting paid too. Y'all could surely do more.
Yeah, but all that Ray Lewis film you can watch is only one Ray Lewis. Like, I can watch Bruce. Not only did I watch Bruce Smith film, I actually played with Bruce Smith. And then he would do a move, and I'd be like, that's about it. I can't go any farther than watching the film and making that actually happen on the field. My last thing is this. We know that there are a myriad of reasons, and I'm going to really highlight one that doesn't get enough attention between the ears in terms of confidence.
That's good.
And what I've learned about confidence is I break it down to a macro, big picture, and a micro, little picture. The macro to me usually says, do you deserve it? Like, you even put yourself in position to succeed, to win. Do you deserve it? Like, do you really believe in yourself? But then it goes deeper to the micro instances, every single play, every single day. Did you earn it? That's different than do you deserve it? Did you earn it? Did you get your proper rest? Did you really look at the playbook again? Did you really go out there and make sure that you know not only what you have to do, but those surrounding you? Those little details. And the difference between the guy who takes that seriously versus a guy who's just on the team trying to ride the wave is what we're seeing right now, unfortunately, in Dallas.